All right, so similar to last time, we're going to position the wheel in here. I'm going to be starting with the spacer on this side and then the bigger spacer on this side. So there's no way for you to confuse them. Moving the camera to this side because I want to show you something. So you have to work out the wheel going alongside with the caliper at the same time. So that's the tricky part. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is to smear your axle with waterless grease. All right, so the first thing I like to do is just to put some wood that's going to be helping me aligning. As soon as I put the wheel on top, it's probably gonna put the hole for me to like throw the axle through the middle, almost like right there. So let me take a look and see. The inside looks good, perfect. So now I position the wheel and I'm going to put the axle inside. I just need to lift it up a little bit. Okay. So axle is almost going through, and I'm just kind of checking everything at the same time because you can't forget of your caliper. Swing arm has a bracket, so you have to position that bracket inside of this channel. So I'm just gonna do that at the same time, which this is the tricky part. The axle a little bit. Oh, everything fell. Scratch the wheel, but hey, this almost got into place. All right, so now I have the caliper inside of the channel, and then I have the disc almost inside of the pads, and this is almost aligning with this. I just need to move it forward so it kind of matches, and then it's almost matching on the other side. So at this point, I should be able to start playing with ensuring that I'm actually gonna move this back a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see how it is. So you have your bracketing here where for the caliper where the axle is gonna go through, and then this one is gonna be on top of this spacer right here. You can't forget that there's a spacer in the back. I'm just trying to give you, as much keep view as possible. So I'm aligning this on this side. It's almost there, but I'm still not here clearing this. So as you can tell, so let me just clear it. Let me see if I can do it like this. Oh, of course, and this is the annoying part. When you, there you go. Okay, so now it's on the inside. It's almost there, everything. So now I'm just gonna come this side and see if I can lift it a little bit this side, and I can slide the axle. Oops. And of course that happened, and it's gonna continue being like that. Man, some days it just goes so easy. So what you heard just now, it was my spacers on both sides falling, which means that you have to pull the wheel back, reposition the spacer, doing the same on this side. I don't want to cut this because this is the reality of, installing wheels. Sometimes, people feel like, oh, this is easy. No, it's not sometimes. Believe me, I've done plenty. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to position this wood in here that probably is going to help me from avoiding the wheel coming back while I'm trying to ensure that everything else is in place. What I'm doing right now is just to keeping the spacer in place and ensuring that I can align it with the wheel and everything in here. It looks okay, so I'm just going to apply pressure to avoid losing, the space. So it's aligned, the hole is aligned on this side, so I'm just gonna try to position it. I think it's almost coming to the other side, almost. So I'm just gonna lift it up like this. Haha, and it went through. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to bring you to this side now. So I'm just gonna run the chain. I'm just gonna push it as forward as possible so I can have enough slack to position my chain. So push it forward as much as possible. Just checking that okay, there you go. So now chain is on and everything is in. Now it's a matter of doing the adjustment and aligning everything to ensure that everything goes well and I have the same, alignment both left and right of the bike, and that way I know that my chain is straight. There's a few tools you can use for that, but I've done this in the past, so I'm not gonna go to every small detail. So hopefully that was clear. I wanted to keep it raw, meaning I don't want to sugarcoat it. You need to understand this gets frustrating sometimes, and that's okay. You just have to deal with it, honestly. And as soon you get used to it, just walk away if you feel like you're getting frustrated and you're about to like blow up your bike, okay? So just don't worry about it. It's fine.
All right, so even though this is not, a full tutorial of how to, adjust your chain once you replace your wheels, I'm going to make a quick side noting here. If you only remove your wheel in order to put a new tire in and whatnot, chances are you don't need to necessarily readjust in your chain, but it's never a bad idea just to, take the opportunity since you're already here, which is why I'm doing it. So otherwise, you should be able to bring, the wheel back, and for the most part it should be already good to go. If you have never done this, essentially you're going to be using the adjusters, which are the two nuts that are on both sides of the swing arm, just to ensure that you are pushing that block that's moving the actual axle back or forward in order to make sure that you are lining up or using those mark references that you have on the swing arm to ensure that both sides are actually on the same slot and that you also have the correct amount of stretch in your chain. You don't have to use a screwdriver the way I did it, but just in case, the way it's because I want to, make sure that I'm pulling the actual chain back as much as possible, and that's just the only way that I can, that I can ensure that the sprocket and everything is actually getting pulled, just to add in some tension while I'm, adjusting the wheel. I always take a look at it. So I will be removing the screwdriver, and I'm going to be, ensuring that both sides are still on the same, marks. And then I also have the desired slack on the chain when I'm done. FYI, I like to run my chain a little bit loose, which I've talked in the past. With the chain in the right position, now it's time for me to torque the rear nut. So in case you didn't know, we use 108 foot-pounds. Remember, I'm saying foot-pounds for all of you who are using a different type of measurement or represent this amount. So it feels like a lot, but and I know some of the people actually use a different amount or maybe a little bit less, or they don't go past 90. Anyhow, the book just called for 108, and that's what I'm going for. Now with everything torqued, I'm just going to take a quick look at my slack on the chain and also making sure that, the wheel is actually moving freely. And I always like to test my brakes because we were actually working with the pads and ensuring that, it's stopping and you're not going to go in through, trying to stop without not being able to stop when you are ready to test your bike. So the front, it's somewhat similar to the rear. You're going to be starting with the spacers. One quick caveat that I want to make is the fact that normally you will be using your front stand and you will not be removing your front stand, but in this case I did. So I'm going to be ensuring that the leg forks, are actually positioned in the right way, and I'm just going to be bringing my stand. So this is probably the point where you will be starting if you were, to be installing your front wheel. At this point, I'm going to be inserting the axle. The one thing that's very important, there are bikes that they have a threaded axle and then they have a nut on the other side. On this particular bike, you have a threaded section inside of the legs of the fork. So when you're starting to use a ratchet, please make sure that you are not cross-threading your legs in the front, your fork legs, and make sure that it's actually entering with no issues. So if you notice that it's going sideways, whatever it is, just make sure that you take it back and redo it again. It's better just to spend a couple minutes in here rather than just messing up the forks. Once you get it completely in, then you're going to go ahead and ensure that you're going to be torquing the front wheel as well. Once torqued, now this is the time that you're going to be installing your front calipers. In my case, I was using just a quick picker or a pick just to create some spacing on the pads again, and that way I can just run the front rotor through the pads and I can just align it with the caliper bracket on the front. I'm doing the same thing on the other side as well, and then just installing the calipers just so I can get them in. Similar to the other components, I like to start by hand and then use my torque wrench to torque every bolt. And like I mentioned, you don't have to necessarily remove the the front fender, but I did, and I'm just now installing it back, ensuring that everything goes into place. And I'm going to be also attaching my brake lines to the existing brackets that are holding the brake lines against the front fender. The way my front stand is holding the bike, it was preventing me to get access to this bolt. So now I'm just going to be inserting the pinching bolt that's going to be ensuring that the axle is not going to be moving while you're riding, which I think it's pretty important. At this point we are done. Just make sure that you are going to be testing your front brake, and by testing I mean pump your lever a couple times to ensure there's pressure and you're not going to be panic braking or needing to brake when you're like either getting your bike on the street for the first time and all of a sudden you're grabbing the brake and the brakes go completely against the handlebar. So just make sure you pump it a couple of times so you have a good braking once you are starting to ride. So I'm just going to be showing you the bike, a couple of pictures to show you how it looks, since this is the first time some of you probably are going to be seeing this bike with knobby tires before I'm taking this bike to the street or to the dirt, which actually I have a few videos out, so if you want to watch them, that'll be amazing. Thank you a lot for watching this video. Take a look at these pictures. I love the way the bike looks. I think it looks amazing. I have some updated pictures where I install some, a new skid plate just to protect, the oil pan and also a little bit the exhaust. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you a lot for watching. If you have, questions about tire selection that I choose, whether or not I like it, give you my comments about how the bike feels, etc., just feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to share with you my feedback. So thank you a lot, and again, for watching, and please share this video whoever you think might enjoy to see an FZ-09 on dirt. And otherwise, just subscribe if you feel like this is the content that you like, and then just suggest me if there's anything else that you like to see. Thank you a lot for watching. Bye.